An excise is a tax assessed upon an event or privilege. The motor vehicle excise is a tax assessed under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 60A, on owners of all registered motor vehicles for the privilege of registration. Owners of motor vehicles are assessed a motor vehicle excise or personal property tax each year. At one time, owners of motor vehicles were assessed a personal property tax by their city or town. Most vehicles are registered, however, so in 1928, Chapter 60A was enacted and imposed a local excise in lieu of a personal property tax. As mentioned, the motor vehicle excise is imposed for the privilege of registration. It is not assessed for the use of the roads, and excise collections are general fund revenues available to support municipal operations. Motor vehicles subject to or exempt from the excise are also exempt from personal property taxes. Unlike property taxes which are assessed for a fiscal year, motor vehicle excise taxes are assessed for a calendar year. The motor vehicle excise is assessed to the registered owner of a motor vehicle. A person who registers a motor vehicle is considered its owner. The city or town where the vehicle is principally garaged assesses the motor vehicle excise. Typically, a vehicle is garaged at the owner's residential address or principal place of business. However, the place of garaging is separately stated on the registration form the owner files with the Registry of Motor Vehicles, or RMV. If the RMV is notified that the vehicle is actually garaged in a city or town other than the owner's residential address or principal place of business, that city or town assesses the excise. In the rare situation where a registered vehicle is principally garaged outside Massachusetts, the Commonwealth assesses the excise. In that case, the Department of Revenue bills the registered owner. The motor vehicle excise for a calendar year is computed by applying the tax rate of $25 per $1,000 to the vehicle's valuation. The valuation is determined by a statutory depreciation schedule we will discuss shortly. If a vehicle is registered on January 1 or during January, the owner is assessed for the full calendar year. If a vehicle is registered after January 31, the excise is prorated based on the number of months registered. That is, from the month of registration to the end of the calendar year. For example, a vehicle registered in March would be assessed for the months of March through December, which would be 10/12 of the excise for the full calendar year. The minimum excise tax is $5. If the actual excise would be less than $5, the owner is assessed $5. The starting point for calculating the valuation used to assess the motor vehicle excise is the vehicle's manufacturer's suggested list price when new. This is known as the MSRP, or manufacturer's suggested retail price, and is more commonly called the sticker price. Use of the manufacturer's suggested list price is required by Chapter 60A, and you cannot substitute a valuation based on the vehicle's purchase price, current condition, or other factor. A percentage is applied to that valuation based on the age of the vehicle. The percentage is also set by Chapter 60A, and you cannot vary it. Note that once the vehicle is 5 years old, the owner pays an annual excise based on a valuation of 10% of the manufacturer's suggested list price. Let's look at an example. Here we have a 2018 model year vehicle with a manufacturer's suggested list price of $40,000. If the vehicle is first registered in 2017, the year before its model year, the 2017 excise is based on 50% of the manufacturer's suggested list price for the vehicle. The chart shows the percentages of manufacturer's suggested list price that apply to compute the valuation used to assess the excise in subsequent years. Let's review what you have learned in this lesson. First, an excise is a tax assessed upon an event or privilege. The motor vehicle excise is assessed for the privilege of registration and instead of a personal property tax. Second, unlike the property taxes which are assessed for a fiscal year, the motor vehicle excise is assessed for a calendar year. If the vehicle is not registered on January 1 and is registered after January 31, the excise is prorated based on the number of months registered. Third, The motor vehicle excise is assessed to the owner of the vehicle by the city or town in which the vehicle is principally garaged. A person who registers a vehicle is considered the owner. As a general rule, vehicles are principally garaged where the owner resides or has a principal place of business. The place of garaging is stated on the owner's registration form and can be located elsewhere. And finally, the motor vehicle excise is assessed at the rate of $25 per $1,000 of the vehicle's valuation. The valuation is set by statute as a percentage of the manufacturer's suggested list price of the vehicle when new. Vehicles are not valued based on their condition, purchase price, or other factor. The percentage declines until it reaches 10% in the fifth and subsequent years.